Right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We get started on this session called Unaffordable Luxury. Before I start, I think there are two words in the English language which are the most misused, the most misunderstood, and just thrown at random wherever you want to. One of those words is love, and the second word is luxury. You just throw these two words at random, and I think half of us honestly don't even realize what's the impact of this word, what are we trying to convey. And you just say, I love you means you've just conveyed everything you have to, and you say, I am luxury, you perceive yourself to be in a space which you probably necessarily are not in that space. So what I'd like to do today is, I want to demystify very quickly this word luxury. We'll keep love aside because Manav's session is not an emotional counseling session, it's more to do with hotels. So we'll stay with luxury. I think when you look around, luxury has really changed in nature to what it was and what it is today. When I started the Tree of Life some 10 years ago, I took two words as my future luxury. And I said space and privacy are the two luxuries which I would like to give to my guests. And we've stayed in that space ever since. When I was in tourism, I remember many years ago, probably 15 years ago, and Dipak was not in this amazing position he is just now, but we used to interact very closely then. And hotels had a category which they used to call superior pool view. Superior pool view room. And they actually charged you a supplement because the rooms overlooked the pool. And it was considered luxury at that time. And we guys, the tour operators, were supposed to shug out extra money because our guests could see other people swimming and sunbathing. That was considered luxury at that stage. We went along, and then hotels probably started to use price as a barrier to make sure that they got the sort of people which they thought were befitting for their brand. So if I price myself high, I would expect I would get that quality of clientele. Today, when we look at it, I think that barrier is also broken. Money is in the hands of people who probably don't deserve it. But there is enough money going around, so price is no longer a barrier to justify a luxury positioning or justify the sort of clientele you get. But then before I go forward, I'll just share with you another very strange form of luxury sort of which came about 2 years ago. Molecule fine dining. Now you guys in the restaurant business will know what molecular fine dining is. And molecular fine dining was to have smoke and gas on your table.
Well, we will try and catch up.
When the dish is served for a supplement. That's now passé. So let me just go across and first start. Just give me to your brand, what is the perception of luxury? What do you think luxury is all about?
I think one from our brand perspective and otherwise generally as well, I think luxury is a combination of a lot of factors. And one of the most prime factors that you begin with is the way the hotel is designed. What are the aspects on luxury that you've covered there? And then even if you've designed the most good-looking hotel, the most important factor that you've actually superimposed on that is the service design. And once both these things are taken care of, the third factor, which in my opinion is basically the hands required to deliver luxury. So which means picking up the team members who understand how luxury is perceived and how it needs to be delivered. And the team members are such who are able to imbibe the ethos of luxury and deliver it front forward to the guests. So it's a combination of three factors which I think are very, very predominant. Okay. And none of them is exclusive. All of them have to play a very vital role in the overall sense of being, of experience of luxury.
Right. Rajiv, any thoughts to add to this? Anything which you want to say, which your brand stands for away from the others?
See, luxury, luxury is multi-dimensional.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a single-dimensional. I think all those things that Sonica just mentioned, of course, they are in place. You're trying to create, again, luxury is, the way you construct it is a little different in a city hotel and a leisure hotel, because leisure hotel is more about bespoke experiences and memories. But I think ultimately, as a hotel brand, as a luxury brand, you're really concerned with how do you make your guests feel? You know, and I think that is the area which hotels are now exploring. Earlier it was more to do with physical attributes, and luxury was really built around, you know, the Italian marble and the gilded ceiling and the plush carpets. It's less to do with that, and it is more to do with, you know, the emotional tapestry that you're able to really construct in a guest experience. Those are the elements that I think for us who are you know, practitioners in this field want to get better at.
Dipak, your take?
So I think it's all of what Sonica and Rajiv has said.
Anything different to what's been said?
But I think for us as a company, I think we have a very deep-rooted ethos of responsible luxury. Responsible luxury is at the very center stage of the brand DNA. It is a philosophy that integrates best-in-class green practices, design, element, luxury, and delivers what we call experiences to our consumers in a responsible manner. And it is about giving luxury a more meaningful way to deliver experiences which are more connected to society and environment.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's the really essence. And I think the whole essence of that is about unique hotels, art, architecture.
So all of that put
It's
together.
about bringing traditions, it's bringing culture. It's about recreating cuisine. So it's just not the green element. Sustainability is embedded into it, but it's not sustainability. It is far greater than just being green. I think it has a whole component of conservation, engagements, creating unique experiences, recreating traditional cuisines, looking at the value chain and looking at how you can bring craftsmen and giving them a place, whether it is through your hotels, whether it's through the hotels that you build. So I think there's a whole philosophy that sort of is integrated, which we call is what today luxury is. Because the understanding of luxury has changed over the years.
Sure. Samir, at the Oberois, what's the take at the Oberois? How do you people define this segment?
I think the advantage in sitting at this panel is that there are lots of common themes, common points on these topics. But if I were to answer very succinctly, I think I'd say three things. For us, the way we look at it, first and foremost is a guest.
Yeah.
Who are we serving? What are they here for? How can we serve them the best? The second is anticipating their needs. You know, they are there for a purpose. They are to your hotel. Either, you know, it's just incidental to their trip, or it's a core purpose of their trip, or in between, what they come for, how they're there, and what is their best needs, expecting them. It's through our own learning, having served guests for more than 85 years. It's a combination of having served guests in a number of countries, and just being able to anticipate them and addressing each of them. And the third part, I would say, is really the best service we can offer. And this is a real hard intangible. Service is easy said, it's easy to figure, but if you look at in multi-dimensions, whether it's the room, whether it's the feel of the room, whether it's the interaction with the person, you know, there's a very strict Oberoi Dharma, if I will, code of conduct, which I'm sure all of us have in our respective organizations. It's something we as a group follow to the T. How you approach a guest, how you conduct, how you answer their needs, how you help them through it. So principally, it's just making somebody feel as at home, as they're comfortable, and not just being over the top. That's not what we are.
Parveen, the Taj?
So to add to the fellow panelists, one of the key things which at the Taj Group we feel we offer as luxury is providing authentic, true experiences. And that comes from our selection of palaces, our iconic Taj Mahal, Mumbai Taj Mahal Palace. Also, we created the first safari lodges, you know, the tiger trails. So I think that's one of the key things which I would say, in addition to what other people have said, is true luxury that we offer. And the second thing I would say is attention to detail. I mean, whatever we do in hoteliering, attention to detail is very critical, and that's something which makes a core component of luxury. Some other themes which are quite prevalent are the way we make our guests feel. So that's where we call Tajness is one of the core, the soul of our company, and the way we do things. So that's very, very, very important. So I would say some of these three key themes would be part of the luxury.
Right. So I think here's my take. I think luxury is a dead concept if you really look at it in the traditional way, because luxury was created for an affluent class. And I think today the affluent class themselves are looking at this word luxury with suspect. If you really look at it today in a broader sense, you got luxury diapers, luxury handbags, luxury sandals, luxury keychains. So the luxury word today, I think, has been misused to the extent that the segment which you created it for is looking at it with suspect. And that's why if you see, most of the hotel brands have now actually stopped using this word luxury wherever they are. And I just very interestingly did some research, and Jumeirah now calls it Jumeirah Experiences, which we know. Conrad Hotel says, never just stay inspired. And of course, Ritz-Carlton many years back said, ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen, which I think is an amazing line which they use, and it's one of my favorites. But where I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, is that at the end of the day, in this luxury segment, it's a 450 to 550 square foot room. It's got amazing toiletries. It's got a double sink maybe, twin shower. And you've got probably furniture which is imported from China in many cases. My question then, gentlemen, is, and you, how long will you carry on selling in this? And your selling price is 13 to 15,000 rupees plus 28% GST. For what you're offering as an accommodation, for how long do you think there exists a market for you, given the disruptions which are happening, that you will still be able to maintain the selling price? Because I think you'll be under huge pressure as you go forward for what is happening in the market. Dipak, you want to start this? Do you really believe you'll sustain this going forward? This price band of selling this product at 13, 15,000 plus 28%?
So Himmat, I think you should, for the time being, just take the price out of the equation. I think let's try and understand actually who are you serving and who is the new consumer. Right. That's very, very important.
Okay.
Now, I've got some research trend of the luxury segment in terms of the new consumer and what he's really looking at. He's looking at experiences that enrich them without compromising on self-indulgences. Luxury status has moved from mere accumulation of wealth to on how much you can give back to society. There is this rise of high-income, rich, new age millennials who are looking and defining luxury from just being a status symbol to really understanding the backstories behind a brand. They're looking for more uniqueness in a brand. They're looking for what is called the unique, personalized, immersive luxury experiences and the value that that experience provides to them to self-enrich them. So it's a much more considered way of buying a product. It's not spontaneous that I need to do this because this is how it used to be that, oh, I need to stay there and I'm willing to pay any money. So there's a lot more things that now come into play to deliver those unique experiences that connect, again, I said, to society and environment in a meaningful manner.
No, I agree.
And there are codes of luxury, which need to be embedded in these service experiences. Those codes of luxury are in design element. They could be on wellness. There are on, as I said, unique insider or experiences, immersive experiences. So there are whole codes of luxury. It's about associates, about how conversational your team can be. And you know, how do you then package that, and the price that you're able to command is how you differentiate your brand and your luxury vis-a-vis the next
Yeah, but
person.
Sameer, isn't everybody more or less
So I
offering the
think
same
that
thing? What
so
Dipak is
it
saying,
could be very elastic. I mean,
and yesterday we saw in Manav's first presentation in the introduction, where he said that not more than 5% of the traveling public is using accommodations of this sort. And when he clubbed it with somebody else, with another segment, it was 14% or 15%. Now the question is, in reality, you guys are talking about a segment which is probably just 5% of the traveling public. Look at the pace at which you luxury hotels are opening up. And what Dipak has said is only expression of sentiments, of various sentiments put together. So how do we justify, in the age of disruption, that I can still command a price for a promoter at 15,000 rupees a night?
I think it's
Where is the challenge for you in doing this? And you think it's sustainable going forward?
I think first of all, if you were to compare the price of consumption of luxury hospitality in India compared to a couple of other international locations, we're still far underpriced if you were to look at it. We're talking about 15,000 INR per night, and if you were to go to other luxury locations, it could be probably 3 times or 4 times the price of this.
In the Far East? Sorry, in
No,
the
I'm
Far
talking
East?
about Far East, in
Europe.
Europe,
Yeah.
in the US. I mean, we can't really confine ourselves into one particular, section, as the luxury traveler is widely traveling to various locations. And I completely disagree with the fact that even if it's about 5% of the population, or the traveler, which is actually consuming luxury not making sense. Well, luxury per se is an aspirational product. It's not meant for everybody. And be it you talk about hospitality, you talk about retail, shoes, bags, outfits, anything, consumer durables, whatever you talk about. And it's not meant for everybody. So this disproportion between 5% to 95% will always exist now, 10 years from now, or probably 20 years from now. But this 5% population in terms of the aggregated mass will grow over a period of time. In India, definitely so. And we've seen the kind of per capita consumption of luxury, of how it's changed not only in hotels, but also in affiliated classes of luxury consumption. And going to your initial observation, that it's probably just about putting 2 wash basins, a bathtub, and a room. If that were the case, then probably some of the most best designed hotels, and probably in the most finicky, lost out location, would be doing the highest RevPAR, which is not the case. I mean, it's a combination of a lot of factors. So as we started our conversation with, so one, you're building up a beautiful hotel. There is an eye for detail. There's an eye for, in terms of what is the kind of consumption pattern of the guest who's coming in. Am I able to actually reflect that lifestyle onto the product I'm creating? And secondly, am I superimposing an absolutely luxurious service design to top it up? Anybody can put up probably 2 wash basins and a bathtub and a great, a room in the hotel, but that doesn't call for luxury experience.
Okay,
if I'm not able to anticipate the guest's needs, I'm not able to anticipate, how he needs to feel or she needs to feel when he enters the hotel, then it's not luxury at all.
Okay, I'm going to come back to this later. Sameer, let me just take this on.
Otherwise, the palaces which existed 50 years back would all be running on their own. They're very luxurious, with hotels not taking them over.
Okay, Sameer, one second. I'll take all of you one by one, please. I know this is
I just
getting...
want to add one more point, is the authenticity of the experience that you deliver.
Right.
And I think...
yeah, so I'm going to come to that authenticity of experiences in the next one.
And that does not... It can be at varying price points.
Yeah.
It depends upon how unique that is.
Yeah, but I'm just questioning... Yeah. Okay, time is short. I've got to get a whole lot of questions. I'm going to move on. Sameer, let me ask you. I don't necessarily agree that the luxury 5% market is growing at a huge pace. I don't buy that, but we have our own viewpoints.
I didn't say a huge pace, but I said the disproportion will always exist.
Point taken. The fastest growing segment today are the millennials, who are now constituting about 50% of the traveling population. And they are growing at a huge pace. These guys have no brand loyalty. They are looking for the best price, and they are looking for experiences. That's what this segment is looking for. Are these big brands which are in the luxury space missing the writing on the wall by not being able to cater to the price point which and the experience level which these hugely growing segment is looking for. Samir and then Parveen after that.
Himmat, it's an interesting question, and I think it links back to the previous conversation. I think if we just taking a slight step back, we were talking about affluence, we were talking about design for affluence. If I just lay out the context of who the guest was, if I go back 19th century, the wealth was created in ownership of land. There was inheritance. Then it came in the means of production. So you stayed where you were, you produced, you earned, you set up factories. And in the last 20, 30 years, the wealth creation is happening much more from the knowledge industry, right? You have the know-how, you studied, there is social mobility, people have moved up from smaller cities, bigger towns, international, whatever. As a result, the world today who has wealth, if I were to look at the distribution in that 5%, from a landowner, it's much more towards the younger population who has created with their ideas, with their knowledge, with their education. The aspiration of this 5% or a large part of this is very different from what the landowner or the factory producer and the paper mill producer in the 50s or the 60s had. Whether it was wish for a tangible product, the opulence, to now a little bit more about experiences and all.
Absolutely.
So, to your point, are we wrong in looking at only the 5% and ignoring the mass? My take is that 5% is reconstituting, it's rebalancing, and we need to look at what that 5% today is and how best we can adapt our product. Because inherently, let's not forget something. Every one individual company, we all have our DNA, right? If we try and do, in my company, I cannot see us doing whatsoever something which is going to be at a sub-price point, even if it offers 50% growth. The DNA of this company is to do a quality product with a quality service and work out the right metrics to make it happen. Would I like to change the DNA of the organization? No, it won't happen. It's a futile exercise. So we just need to see what we can do best to which, whether it's the, let's not typecast as millennials or anything. I'm not a millennial. I think I've just sort of a little over it. But I like to think and eat and drink in the same manner.
Yeah.
I switch on my laptop at 10 o'clock, I have a glass of wine, the TV is on, kids are out of the way, there's nothing happening. That's when I work. Millennia, yeah, they do that. They do it throughout the day, but I do it at 10 o'clock. I mean, it's just about how people are working and behaving and playing today. And if we can create a product and capture their imagination. Now, it may happen at the high price point, it may happen at the lower with a stripped down version. Of course, that can be all talked of. But focusing on the DNA of the organization, the aspiration of the people in the organization is equally,
Parveen,
equally
let
important.
me just go to you for your take on this.
Yeah, so a couple of things I would say. Firstly, when we say a luxury product or a luxury hotel, we are always talking of something which is rare and is more aspirational. So when our inventories are becoming larger and people are traveling far more often and Indian hotel industry is divided into multiple sectors, the luxury segment will always remain 5%. So, I mean, if we feel that that's going to go larger, it would never happen. There'll always be more staggered options available. Second thing about the millennials, actually, I have a difference of opinion here. So, 2-3 things. One, today millennials don't believe in collecting, properties and products. They believe in collection of experiences. I have a young adult at home, so I can tell you that. For them, what's important is they work hard and then they play hard. So they kind of go and spend the money, all that they've earned in 6 months. Second thing, the way the luxury is consumed or the way people consume most of the things today are changing. So in the past, you would check into the suite which is on the penthouse, on the top of a building with best quality, glitterati, and then that's what it is for you. And probably a very rare friends of yours would be invited to see it, or it's meant for self-pampering. Today, people are living actually most of the time in the digital world. So I see that these guys have some 50 posts in a day. The moment they check into a hotel, what they're trying to do is tell their people that how unique that experience that they are actually going through. So for them, what you really need to do is that everything that they do in the journey has to be experiential. So right from if they're opening an expensive bottle of wine, what's really important is before they open a bottle of wine, it has to be Instagrammed to a close group of people to know that this is what they're consuming. So the definition of how we deal with this segment will change.
Yep.
And by just providing static products, it's not going to work.
True.
It has to be things which are more experiential. Either we touch them through our services or we touch them through our product. So I think the future is very interesting and it's going to move to that direction.
Yep. Rajiv, let me come to you. If my research is correct, earlier on, an average room cost, and including public areas and everything, used to be for a 5-star hotel, say 1 crore, sometime back. Today I'm told it's anything about 1.75 crores a key for a 5-star room, including public areas and everything. Your tariffs, more or less, the tariff in the last 2-3 years has remained in that price band how it is. It's not really moved up dramatically, whereas cost per key has gone from 1.2 crores to probably 1.7 crores. I'm taking an average pricing. Now to the promoters, how do you justify that this is the right segment to be in, where my cost of construction or of creating the asset has gone up tremendously? My price band is more or less the same, and the promoter is supposed to put in X amount of money. How would you justify this to the promoter?
So it's a challenge, and let me share with you that the prices, the numbers mentioned by you are severely discounted.
So it's higher than this. So tell us,
I wish
you
it
will
was
know.
that.
You're the right guy to ask. You would know the best. I mean,
I'm quite certain that for the three of us,
2 crores a room.
a property cost would be minimum 2.25 CR.
Okay. So that makes the situation even worse now.
And that is excluding the land cost. Okay, so that's the reality.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think we need to understand what's happening. For 10 years, room rates have remained static in city hotels.
Right.
As a matter of fact, room rates in rupee terms in 2019 are still sub what they were pre-2611 attacks in many metros. I'm talking about the top rates, not the aggregate city rates, but the top rate in the city hasn't reached there. However, during the past 12 years, the tariffs in the resorts have grown by more than 100%. You know, and this is a very interesting cycle because, you know, if we flash back to early 2000, the stars were the city hotels and the dogs were the resorts.
Yeah.
And in the past decade, it's been completely reversed.
Right.
So the superstars today are the resorts. We have resorts which are doing room rates consistently of over 40,000 rupees for 6 months of the year. And there are at least maybe 8 such hotels in this country.
Right.
At the same time, we have maybe 3 hotels that are able to do, city hotels, that are able to do a tariff of 20,000 for more than 90 days of the year. So I think that is where we need to, now, just because of this, are we going to start building wrong hotels? I think there's a fundamental question. Do you build hotels for tomorrow, day after tomorrow, for next 5 years, 10 years? What is your vision? And if you take a look at all great things, again, it starts with what is the philosophy of the company. Some of us aspire to be amongst the top 2 in the city. So the hotel that you described just won't do. You know, you've got to do whatever it takes to provide the grandest experience in the city.
Right.
It's not going to cost you less than 2.5 CR a key. So you have to think it through, that there is going to be seasonality, there is going to be cycles. Will you be able to manage? And you know, some of us managed some places, some of us couldn't.
Right.
It's again a question of financial engineering. If you are borrowing, then you are in trouble. But if not, if you can ride out that cycle and equity can wait, there are handsome rewards to be made. We have been in the midst of we saw, you know, Achin's presentation yesterday, but my take on this is that we have been in the midst of the longest down cycle in my 40 years in the business, because it's lasted. If a hotel in Delhi and Bombay cannot touch the rate, the highest rate in the city, in 12 years, the down cycle continues.
Sure. Exactly. Sonia, what's your take on this, on the cost of per key to what is happening, from a promoter's point of view?
May I just finish? I think
Sorry.
I just say. Yep. So my point is that yes, you have to be responsible. There is money to be made in resorts today.
Yep.
The money to be made in city hotels it's transforming. Earlier, if the architectural program of the hotel was that you would use a minimum, I don't know, maybe 1,200 square foot per key, you may now have to use it, bring it down to maybe 950, 1,000. You will have, because it is the cost of land, which is really pushing up the cost of construction.
Right.
You know, land cost used to be 25%.
Yep.
Today, land costs in city hotels can go up over 50%. So that's what needs to be managed.
Right. Sonia, your take on this?
Well, well, if you were to look at on, of course, the ARRs and the RevPARs, we've not had a very, you know, huge positive movement on that. But I think we need to take cognizance of another section of the revenue on which the hotels survive nowadays majorly, which is food and beverage. And in a lot of these luxury hotels, with the kind of facilities that they've been able to manage in their public areas, including you know, the kind of ballroom space they have and the food and beverage, that's seen a good increase. So in a way, in some fashion, your P&Ls are getting offset by the kind of food and beverage and the MOD income that you're able to generate out. Of course, the profitability percentage may not be the same, but it does give you a bit of a breather when you look at the other income besides the rooms. And then I think what is also most important is that how you financially engineer your projects. And that becomes of key critical importance. I mean, considering, like as Mr. Kaul also said, that debt can be an overburdening phenomena, considering, you know, with real estate getting debt at, even if they are, that is because the banks are pretty dry at about, you know, 12%, 11%. I think we need to financially engineer by probably looking at more constructive options of getting quasi-equity into companies, which could be, if you were to look at quasi-debt, you look in probably external commercial borrowings. So if there are already hotel owners who are actually having foreign exchange earning which is coming in, and they have a natural hedge which sits onto them without really adding up a hedging cost, we would probably look at external commercial borrowing to actually lower the cost of debt, which can actually kill the hotel because you're not able to sustain the interest cost and the repayments as they come about. Then the other thing is that, you know, you can work upon a lot of, you know, external funding through debentures and also in terms of preferential share capital that you can get. So what I'm basically trying to say is that it's going to be a combination of financially engineering your product in a much wiser fashion and not just looking at rooms division as a revenue generator, but concentrate heavily in terms of driving out your food and beverage income and then overall sustain the product. But yes, there is rationalization which is happening in this space. And once the rationalization happens, the ARRs and the RevPARs are going to move up. So it is an interim phase. We've taken far longer to actually come out of the cycle, but I think it's going to be a positive trend. I'm pretty optimistic about it.
One very simple question. Why do you guys charge for Wi-Fi?
We don't.
For internet. Every chai wala, every sabji wala, everybody's got it on his mobile today.
We don't.
And if you're in that space, why do you people charge for this?
So we don't. The basic
No.
Wi-Fi is free.
Yeah, it's free.
So all of us,
So all of you are now giving basic free, all.
Yes.
No, your base is free. I mean, whatever, up to 5 Mbps.
5 minutes. The first 5 minutes
not
is
5
free,
minutes.
and then you pay.
No, not 5 minutes.
Up to 5 Mbps.
the regular speed Wi-Fi is free.
Yeah.
It's a more
Yeah.
tiered
So we moved there now. Everybody's giving that.
Yeah, long back.
I'm misinformed. I thought that we were still.
Can I just answer just part of what Sonica and Rajiv?
Yep,
and-
please.
just-
We've got
just-
6
just
minutes
to-
more. Yep.
Just to put in
Sure.
perspective, I think really the hard work has been done. The biggest supply of luxury hotels came in the worst downturn of Indian hospitality. And I think what you're going to see now is that these hotels that currently are priced at a particular price point, you're going to see these markets have the capacity to support the swing that is going to take place in the price. So that is going to happen. What it has happened, these luxury hotels have positioned India in a globally. We have the finest hotels, finest services, finest hospitality, with everything that is there better in both technology, cuisines, etc., than anywhere in the world. So we've positioned ourselves very well. And similarly, as far look at our luxury resorts, etc., today we've got fantastic resorts that are coming and are already there. So I think luxury hotels eventually, as the cycle is changing, those locations, the cities, our big cities, are the places where they will be able to support these prices that you're looking and get you the return on investment.
So you're confident that there is, the segment
100%.
on its upfront.
The next phase is in the mid-tier and the second-tier cities, where you will probably need to go from the mid to the up and upper upscale. And that is the right place, because those cities will not be able to command the kind of premium and the return you require. But these cities, I do believe that the time has come that we will be able to take. We are very underpriced. Currently, we are underpriced. We are nowhere in comparison to what is there even in South Asia. You talk about any rate of 10,000 to 15,000 is, what is 15,000 rupees when you look at hotels of the similar kind in Singapore, Hong Kong?
Okay, that I could have taken on
so,
if I had more time.
Underpriced.
But I'm just going to ask you one last question.
We will take jump.
Just to expand on that,
Rajiv, I've got one last question to do.
I think the sweet spot in the last decade was with the upscale hotels.
Okay.
And I think the sweet spot the next year cycle will be with luxury hotels.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm sure a lot of people
I
in
just
the
have
audience.
one limited comment on this. The pricing is also the relation to demand and supply. So what's really been happening is that
that's what it is.
When we used to build large luxury hotels, at that time the supplies were so low that everybody would pay you luxury pricing. Today, the number of hotel rooms has been high and the supply has been going up so drastically that the demand hasn't been really matching up with it. So I agree with that the next cycle we do see that the luxury hotels will get its due price in the system. And secondly, we also need a lot more leisure travel coming in from international. Yeah. So what's really happening is about 10 years back, your hotels would survive on leisure travel. Yes. Today we survive on corporate travel.
Correct.
And most of it is domestic corporate travel. So even in a luxury hotel, the domestic corporate travel pays you pricing which is just corporate rates. And that's, I think, one of the paradigm which needs to change.
Let me ask one last question quickly. More and more people today are sleeping with their mobile and not with their partner anymore. That's the way we are going. And app-based everything, our whole life is going app-based. Everything's on the app. Why is it that you luxury hotels do not position your restaurants on Swiggy, Zomato? Is it because it's like down market for you? You don't want to be there with the guys? Because everybody's ordering on the app now. So what's the reason to stay away from there?
So at the Taj Group, we do that.
All of your restaurants?
Most of the Taj hotels, we are moving towards it. For Mumbai, I can tell you, we are on Swiggy, we are on Zomato, we are on even Scootsie.
Okay.
And we see that it's again, it doesn't really takes away anything from the luxury. It's just a different consumer market. And the younger millennials, they consume everything from Swiggy. So it's actually a very good way of reaching out to them.
Samir, what about you, the Oberois?
See, from a delivery takeout, we don't. But I think, again, going back to the theme of where should the positioning of the hotel be or products should be. Again, traditionally, F&B has always been and largely considered as an amenity of the hotel with the guest coming in, paying the big rate to you. So he needs to be or she needs to be catered to properly for breakfast, lunch and dinner.
Right.
But increasingly, as we are seeing in other luxury operators in India, outside India, could F&B or should F&B not become an independent function which is more integrated with the neighborhood, with the community? And then to that respect, it's not just room-led business in a hotel. Right. And I think if that change has to happen, that needs to start now. Would we do Swiggy, Zomato? I'm not entirely sure. But should we reposition some of our food and beverage? Just to give an illustration, for the longest time in Oberoi, New Delhi, our food and beverage business was more than the rooms business.
Really?
Because of 360. When the product came, it was greatly welcome for the longest time. Today we are slightly low, but hopefully we'll get there soon enough. And I think it's a living room for vast majority of people who are there day in and day out. Should we not be able to do that with our other restaurants in Bombay, in Gurgaon? The effort is always on.
But you're open to it, right? The thought is there. You're open. Deepak, anything last 30 seconds before the bell goes ting ting? 30 seconds more.
I think if you provide unique experiences, have great cuisine, it's well differentiated. F&B which has limited inventory, I don't think you need to communicate through online channels.
You don't think?
I disagree with that. I think hotels need to adapt technology much faster.
You've got 10 seconds left to make up your mind. Then the bell's going to go.
I would never ever put Bukhara on online channel.
Okay.
I would never put Dampukht on online channel.
Right.
So
just to give you a food for thought, how come internationally best restaurants are doing home deliveries and they're on online channels?
Okay.
Food for thought.
Time is up. We'll continue this in the back. Thank you very much, panelists, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.